Hello and welcome to Setup Phase. Today we will be continuing our journey in the realm of Ulos in roleplayer adventures. With the second adventure, I've already set up most of the game. We have 4 different encounter tokens. I've shuffled them and placed them on their positions and also added 1 XP to each location. Let's now read the beginning of the story. Your adventure begins. The Dragul invasion has ended, but your regiment marches north into the swamps where the Dragul continue to plot against Nalos. While your fellow soldiers head to battle, you have been sent to the halfling town of Jolev on orders from King Taron to fetch the head of a giant troll. The coast here is lined with grassy bluffs and sandy beaches. A light breeze carries the smell of the sun-warmed sea. There is a slight smokiness in the air, and you recall with keen anticipation Jolev's reputation for producing the finest flavored hams in all of Nalos. Place your party marker on location A and read location A. If you have keyword Esther, no. If you have keyword market, no. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location and continue reading. We collect the XP and place it in the XP location on the party journal. Standing alone in the town square, the mayor welcomes you to Jolev. Sorry for these humble greetings, he says, but everyone is in hiding. He gestures around and you see that the boards cover the windows of every shop but the blacksmith's. Several second-floor shutters are cracked open so that curious eyes can watch you. Thank heavens for the king's guard, shouts the mayor, hoping his citizens will hear. We place our troubles in your capable hands. The mayor exits, windows close, the blacksmith's hammer rings out a lonely sound. As you cross the empty cobblestone square, you find an old staff sling. Reveal discovery card 93. Which is a staff sling. If there is only one character in your party, turn to A7. You interview the blacksmith Rose and notice that she wears a ring with an eye-shaped insignia. You recognize it as the mark of the Starlit Door, a secretive group researching the ancient mysteries of Nalos. Rose tells you that young Escher Dungras has gone missing. Many fear that she has been taken by the troll. The Dungras farm lies along the western road. Esther was last seen at the beach to the east. Are you really planning to fight a giant troll alone? She asks skeptically. Then she pulls something from a chest in the back of a shop. This charm isn't much in the way of protection, but it's all I have for now. Come back later and I'll have something more for you. Find all runic armor cards in the armor deck, shuffle them, and reveal one. Add that card to your hand, return the remaining cards to the armor deck, and also we will reveal title card 12. There are 6 runic armor cards. Let's just pick one at random. Let's say this one. And we have a runic pendant, which allows us to either reroll or flip a white die. And also the title Smith's Hammer. We can now either use an item or move to another location. Let's use the staff sling and see what it has. We are at location A, the number is 93, and it doesn't cost any stamina to use. You look around Jolev to see if anyone is missing a staff sling. The blacksmith Rose just shrugs. Go ahead and keep it, she says. We can use another item, rest, or move to another location. We have no more items to use, there's no reason to rest, so let's move to another location. The only location that we can move is B, the ancient chapel, and along the way we will need to stop at the first encounter. The first encounter will be encounter number 3. We take the Tome of Encounters and turn to that section. On the side of the road, you see a series of large hanging cages, all empty save one, which contains a disheveled human calling out for help. Get me out of here, he cries. It wasn't me, I swear. He shows you a few gold coins he's somehow managed to keep with him. Look, he says, they're all yours if you let me out. As king's guard, it is within your duties to dispense justice, so you ask about his cause. He claims to be the son of a noble, heir to the lost castle of Carleval, wandering disguised as a beggar. A plump, grey-haired farmer lost her prized pig. It had a black spot shaped like a swan, and suspicious locals blamed him for the theft. I ask you, why would I steal when I have gold to pay with? But he dresses and smells unlike any noble you've ever met. Is he a lying pig thief or a noble that stinks? Declare him innocent and free him from the cage is a strength and dexterity check, or find him guilty and let him rot. We are not really good at dexterity, but we are pretty good at strength. Let's declare him innocent and free him from the cage. We will move to Adventure 2:11. Breaking the lock is not as easy as you had first thought. It is of a sturdy dwarven make. Skill check that we will need to perform is Force 1. The skill check requires red and black dice. Let's use 1 stamina from the strength to guarantee a red dice, and 1 from dexterity for a black die. We take a red and a black, and the dice limit is 4. Let's take the remaining 2 at random from the dice bag. Another red and a white. We roll the dice and see what we can match. We already have a 2 and a 3. We only need a 4, a black 4. First, let's try to re-roll the black. And it's a 4. We have covered all the dice slots. We have completed the check. We gain 2 experience. And at the end of the turn, the discarded cards return back to our hand. We place the 2 experience along with the others. We have passed the check, so we free the man. You deftly unlock the cage and the man leaps to the ground. He briefly thanks you and heads off into the hills. Reveal title card 6, 68, and gain 3 gold. 3 gold. Title card 6 is Duntum's Return, and 68, Duntum's Acquaintance. We can now rest or move to the next location. We still have no reason to rest. Let's continue our movement. We completed the encounter. There's no need for the encounter token. And we move to location B, the Ancient Chapel. If you have the keyword Discovery, we do not have any keywords for the moment. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location and continue reading. We collect the XP. I will add it to the XP area. We have a total of 4 now. Ancient buildings of Nalos are held sacred by law. No trespassing is permitted and looters are imprisoned, so you are surprised to hear sounds coming from inside. Colorful splashes of light filter through fractured stained glass in the chapel's vaulted ceilings. A Drugolian bell hangs high above the marble altar, which faces rows of stone benches. Rounding the altar, you find a muscular gnome, wooden mallet in hand, standing over a door in the ground that has no obvious lock or latch. You can see that the door is made of Durgolium, just like the chest at the Black Lake. The gnome speaks in a low voice. Just in time, he says, "Give me a hand with this door." He has guts, inviting a king's guard to help him loot an ancient site. The gnome stands to offer you his mallet, and as he does so, you notice a branded mark on his arm in the shape of an eye. It seems that he is a member of the Starlit Door. Perhaps he can teach you the secrets of this chapel, or perhaps he conspires against the king's peace. We can either arrest the gnome for trespassing, or offer to help him open the door. I think in this playthrough we will be going for the king's favor. And considering that we are a king's guard, let's arrest the gnome for trespassing. The gnome makes no protest. He goes along with you willingly and remains silent all the way back to Jolev, where you place him in the local lookup until your work in the area is done. As you close the cell door behind him, the gnome gives you an odd smile. We need to reduce the reputation for Starlight's door. If any player has the Grey Matter object card, we do, which we got at the end of the last adventure, we turn to B5. You already found something, says the gnome knowingly. You open a Dergulium riddle box somewhere and got yourself a secret. Well, good for you. These objects come from beyond our world. Their Dergolium chambers stabilize their presence here. But our job, he says in a conspirational tone, is to make sure they all see the light of day. Please help yourself to the one in the chapel. Gimlix is my name. I'm sure we'll meet again. After thanking the local jailer, you return to the chapel and look again at the bell hanging high in the air. Reveal tarot card 4. Title card 4 is entitled Captor of Gimlex. We can use an item, rest, or move to another location. Let's try to use the staff sling and see what we have here. Ringing the bell seems like a good idea. You lowered your staff sling with a bit of rubble from the chapel floor and sling it at the bell. It makes a soft, pleasant note that vibrates the Dergulium door, but the door does not open. Maybe it would work better if you had some other kind of ammunition. We can use another item, rest, or move to another location. No items to use, no reason to rest. Let us continue moving. Let's go to the beach. We continue along the path and we run across encounter number 1. You hear a horrible squeal and run to discover a pig lying in a ravine. It must have fallen and broken a leg. It writhes in pain and fear. The pig is pink with dark spots, one of which resembles a black swan. You cannot see the whole ravine clearly from where you stand because of a rocky overhang that obscures most of the ravine floor. You hear a rustling sound coming from beneath it. We can either see if we can help the pig, which is a fight, or investigate the overhang, a dexterity and constitution check. We have no constitution left, and I don't think any ways to manipulate the dice. Let's see if we can help the pig. You search the bottom of the ravine and discover no broken leg on the pig. Instead, there is a massive angry welt in its abdomen. The poor animal froths at the mouth, clearly the victim of some horrible venom. You turn around to see a giant scorpion crawling towards you from under the overhang. We need to fight a venomous giant scorpion. The venomous trait says that after rolling the dice pool, return a black die from the dice pool to the bag for each 3 results rolled. Our combat limit is 3, which means that we can only have 3 dice in one combat round. Let's also place the combat round marker. For the first round, let us guarantee a white die and a green one. And the third die will be randomly drawn from the back. Another green. We roll the dice. We have not rolled any 3, but then again, we do not have any black dice in the pool. The 5 die, white die, can be placed on the card, and we try now to manipulate the dice. We can use the spiked shield as a spent card in order to decrease the 2 to a 1 and place it on its slot. Let's use the Grey Matter in order to add another random die. And it is a purple. We roll the die, a 3. I will use the leather greaves in order to reroll the purple into a 4, and I have famous in order to turn that 4 into any color, and it will be a black. We've played 4 cards. I do not think I have a way to manipulate a 4 green into a 6 white, and we end the turn. We move the round track marker and we take damage based on the uncovered dice and the round track marker. 1 and 1 from the uncovered die, in total 2 damage, which we add to the fatigue box. We move on to the next round. We draw another set of 3 dice. Another green, a black, and a red. Venomous does not take effect because we have not rolled a 3. I can use Steadfast in order to turn any color into a red or a white, and I'll turn the 6 into a red. We have covered all the dice slots and have completed the challenge. We return all the discarded cards back to our hand. The spent cards remain. We return all the dice to the dice bag. And we take the benefits of the covered dice slots. In this case, 2 XP. We add the XP to our collection and we read the victory entry. You put an end to the giant scorpion and turn your attention to the wounded pig. After a few more moments, the venom seems to wear off. Its squealing stops, the pig struggles to its feet again, looks you in the eye as a thank you, and runs off into the hills. We can rest or move to the next location on the path. We have 6 damage and a total of 19 health and only 2 cards in the spent pool. I think we can push it a little longer without resting. As a result, we will continue moving forward. We remove the encounter token and move to the beach. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Collect the XP from this location and we place it in the XP zone of the party journal. If you have any of the keywords lost, bruise, or blood, we do not. Otherwise, continue reading. A small fire burns on the beach. There is no one in sight. You find no sign of the giant troll and no sign of Esther, the missing Dungras girl. Suddenly, you hear rough voices belting out a ballad of the Dragul invasion. Following the song to its source, you uncover 2 stinking drunk halflings lying in the damp sand beneath an overturned rowboat. They must be fishers by trade, for they smell equally of drink and of the sea. Hey, don't you know there's a troll about? One yells at you. Then he whispers, you ought to be less conspicuous, at which both halflings burst out laughing. They seem to be enjoying themselves, but they are also vulnerable here. It isn't safe to be intoxicated when the Draguls stalk the beach. As King's Guard, you have some duty to intervene. Then again, the beach appears empty. What's the harm in letting them have their fun? We can challenge them to a drinking contest, a strength and constitution check. We can sing them a song, a wisdom and charisma check. Or the beach is not safe, help them get home, a dexterity and charisma. Well, we're good at strength and constitution, so let's challenge them to a drinking contest. The halfling men readily accept your challenge and present you with more bottles, pulled from the secret flaps and pockets that you could have imagined they possessed. We drink standing, calls one, loudly enough that you worry his words have carried many miles down the beach. And the last one on their feet is the loser. He's silent for a moment, barely keeping his feet. Winner, he corrects himself. Last on their feet is as hearty as the immortal knight himself. Bottoms up now. An endurance 1 check. To perform this check, we need to cover red and green dice slots. Let us spend 1 of each, 1 red and 1 green stamina in order to add the corresponding dice. A red and a green. The dice limit is 4, the remaining 2 will be drawn at random. And we have 2 whites. We roll the dice. And we get 1 green and a red. Now we only need a red to. We have a lot of free rolls for red and white. Let us start with the chain vampirizes. If you remember, if we use armor, every chain armor counts only as one card. We have 3 in total. We're looking for a 2. And the 4. We play the next one, a 3, and the next one, which is a 1. Let's try one more time with a runing pendant. We can either roll or flip a die. Let's re-roll the white into a 5. We have played 2 cards. We have 2 more cards to play. Let us use restore. This allows us to add 1 random die from the dice bag and set it to the value of 2. And it's a black die and a 2. And with steadfast, we can turn any dice color into red or white. Let's turn the black 2 into a red 2. We have completed the challenge by covering all the dice slots. We take the discarded cards back into our hand and we get the benefit, which is 2 XP. The pass entry is you outlast them. You've won the contest, but your head feels a bit swimmy. Strong stuff that these halflings are drinking. They are impressed by your fortitude and offer you a hand-drawn map. This will get you to Longtooth Island, one tells you. We were out there today and saw shiny things floating in the air. Take our boat if you like. The king's guards should investigate. You inquire about the troll and the missing Dungrass girl, but the fishers say that they haven't seen either. But to be fair, one says, we've been under the boat most of the day. Reveal discovery card 2 and place 1 XP on it. Afterwards, we can use an item, rest, or move to another location. Discovery card 2 is a location. We match the symbol and the numbers. Circle N4, it will go here. And we place an XP on this new location. Considering that we now have 8 stamina in the fatigue box, let's rest. In order to do so, we first add a stamina cube to the rest track. We need to spend 1 or more XP in order to heal our fatigue. Let's spend only 1 XP this time. For each XP that we have spent, we get to roll 1 die and return that number of fatigue cubes to the box, in our case 4. We also fill up the attributes row up to their limit. 3 for strength, 1 for dexterity, 3 for constitution, and 1 for wisdom, and we return the spent cards back to our hand. Now we can either use an item, rest, or move to another location. Let's use the staff sling. The empty cradle of your staff sling flaps in the wind at the beach. It makes a nice sound. Use another item, rest, or move to another location. We have no more items to use. We have just rested. Let's move to another location. We can either go to the Dungrass farm or to the new location. I say let's first visit the Dungrass farm. There are 2 ways that we can get there, either to the up path or down. I say first let's go on the down path. We could stop at the ancient chapel, but there's nothing there. And we encounter the next encounter token, which is a number 4. If you have title Aid to Ogre, we do not. As you turn the bend in the road, you are confronted by a gang of local halflings armed with short swords and pitchforks. You there, they call. What business have you here? Their leader, a plump, grey-haired woman, tells you that a human stranger stole a pig from her farm, one that had a black spot in the shape of a swan. With giant trolls and pig thieves on the loose, we decided to patrol the countryside, looking for anything unusual. and you look very unusual. These halflings are spoiling for a fight. Mob rule of this sort is strictly forbidden by law. Tell them that you are the king's guard here on an important mission. Draw your weapons and order them to disband. The first check is a constitution and charisma check, and the second one is a fight. Well, we are a fighter. Let's draw our weapons and order them to disband. When weapons are drawn, words become useless. These locals have found the fight they've been spoiling for. Our fight is against a gang of halflings. We have seen the gang of modifier before. During the first round of combat, the combat dice limit is reduced to 1. In our case, it will be 2. Let's place the round track marker. The last die, it needs any color, only the number to be 4. Considering this, I would say just get the 2 dice and see where we are. First one is a white, and the next one is another white. We roll the dice, and we have 2 ones. We have a lot of way to reroll whites. Let's begin with that then. A 4, which is perfect. And considering that playing chainmail armor is only 1 card play, let's continue with the other one. And we have another 4. I will keep it for the moment. Maybe I can turn it into a blue. I don't think so. No, there's no way to turn it into a blue. Let's add it to the enemy card. I think for the next one, I will use Restore in order to add any die and set it to the value 2. It's a black die. We have played 2 cards so far, and we can use Friendly to turn any 2 into any color. We turn it into a green die. We have played 3 cards, but there's nothing that we can do in this round anymore. So let's move to the next round. We move the round marker and take the penalties, 3 from the uncovered dice slot and 1 from the round tracker, in total for 4 fatigue. I will return 1 and add a 5 token. For the next round, Gang of is no longer in effect. And let's draw the 3 random dice. We have a blue, the familiar die, and the black. We roll the dice, and we have all 6s. For the first, let's play the last chain of embraces to roll a red die. And we get a 1. Let's try it again with the Flame Imp card. And we get another 6. We have 1 more chance with the Leather Greaves. And we have 4. I can use Famous in order to turn any purple color into any color. I will turn it into a blue. With that, we have covered all the dice slots and we have finished the combat. We return all the dice to the dice bag. All the discarded cards back to our hands. And we take the benefits, which is 1 XP and 2 gold. We place the XP and the 2 gold. Your skills impress them and they disband. You are able to disarm the halflings without hurting any of them too badly. When you demonstrate that you do not intend to kill anyone, they reluctantly collect their tools and head back to their farms. We can either rest or move to the next location in the path. And I think we can move to the next location. We take the token as it's no longer needed. And we move to Dungrass Farm. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location and continue reading. We take the XP and add it to the journal. At the farmhouse door, you are greeted by a note. Gone to look for Esther. Will return with her or not at all. They've left the shovel leaning against the porch railing. Perhaps it will come in handy. Reveal Discovery Card 74. Discovery Card 74 is a steel shovel. I will add it to the other one. As you turn to leave, you are met with a startling sight. A muscular, 20-foot-tall woman with thick green skin and protruding tusks is grabbing pigs from a nearby pen, snapping their necks with a flick of her thumb, and tucking them into a massive leather sack. Looks like you found that troll. We can either attack, attempt to frighten her into submission, a strength and a wisdom check, or we can keep a safe distance and see where she goes, a constitution and wisdom check. I would say we keep a safe distance and see where she goes. You duck behind the corner of the house and watch the troll do her work. After she collects nearly a score of pigs, she hefts the sack over her shoulder and begins to tiptoe away. It's strangely amusing to watch this giant's outsized attempt at stealth, yet her pace is quick and her stride is long. You'll need your wits to read her movements and guess at her destination. An observation 1 check. This check requires green and white dice. Let's spend 1 green and 1 white stamina in order to guarantee these 2 dice. We place a white and a green, and the remaining 2 until the dice limit will be random, which is 2 black. We have a green 5. Let's try to first re-roll the white die. A 4, not useful, and again. A 6, and 1 last time. A 2. We can use the runic pendant in order to turn the 2 upside down into the 5 on the other side. And now we just need a green 4. I think we can use stone skin to add 2 green dice. Whenever we add new die, we need to roll them, and one of them is 4. We have completed the check. We return all the dice and add 2 XP to the XP portion on the journal. You read her well and spy her hideout. Following the troll as far as the top of the hill at the edge of the Dungras farm, you watch as she hides herself in a shallow valley between 2 hills and cuts the pigs one by one, discarding the entrails. It is a shocking sight, if only because she is able to accomplish the work with a few swipes of her fingernail. With the pigs cleaned and back in their sack, she makes her way quickly down through the hills towards a thin plum of smoke rising from the shoreline. Reveal Discovery 31 and place an XP on it, and record the keyword sneak. Let's record the keyword. And next, reveal the Discovery Card 31. Discovery Card 31 is another location. 3 and the 4 dots, it will go here, and we place an XP on it. Next, we can rest, use an item, or move to another location. Let's check the staff sling at location D. You have an itch to use your staff sling, but the only ammunition at hand is dried pig droppings. Your play leaves you smelling rather foul. We can use another item, rest, or move to another location. Let's rest. As before, we add another stamina to the rest track. We can spend XP to heal up. I will spend 2 XP this time. We take 2 dice from the dice pack and roll them. And we have 11, which is more than we have as fatigue. We refill the attributes row, 1 in Constitution and 1 in Wisdom. And we take all the spent items back into our hand. We can now move to another location. Let's go back to the beach and try to use the shovel, see if we have something, and afterwards I think we will go back to A. To move to the beach, we take this path and we have to resolve encounter 2. As you make your way along a well-worn dirt road, you hear a cry for help in the distance. You race to the sound and find a halfling couple pinned beneath an overturned cart. They beg for your help, saying that a group of bandits attacked them and stole their pony and all their gold. They identify themselves as Dungrass family and mention that they are eager to get back to looking for their lost daughter. A few feet from them, you spy their weapon, an expensive-looking short sword lying on the ground. Please don't take that, they plead. It's the only defense we have. If you have any of the titles, Hated by the Trolls, Troll Foe, Trolls Ally, or Trolls Slayer, we do not have any of those titles. We can either assist the halfling and chase down the bandits, leave them and take the short sword. Let's assist the halflings and chase down the bandits. After freeing the Dungrasses, you easily catch up to the bandits in a shallow vale among the hills. They outnumber you and they are ready for a fight. The combat is with a gang of bandits. We have seen the gang of modifier before. During the first round of combat, the dice limit is reduced by 1. Considering this, I will just draw the 2 random dice from the back. A blue and a white. Let's roll them. We have a 2 and a 5. Well, the 2 white we can easily put on the white space. And let's see if we can do anything else. Let's put the 5 on the 5 slot. Or maybe just wait for a moment. Let's use gray matter to add a random die. And it's a red one. A red 4. We can re-roll the reds with the armor. It's another 4. A 6. And a 3. Which we can add to the 3. We have played 2 cards so far. Let's put the 5 on the 5 slot, and I think we will stop here for the moment. We take damage based on the uncovered dice on the next round, which is 3. And for the combat track, we lose 1 gold. We are down to 4 gold. In the next round, we now have the full combat dice limit of 3. Let's spend 1 stamina actually in order to guarantee a blue die. And the other 2 will be drawn at random. A white and another blue. We were looking for a 3. We have a 3 white. We can use entrap, which allows us to flip a 4. On the other side is a 3, and we can add it to the combat space. We have completed the combat. We return all dice. The discarded cards go back into our hand. And we take the bonuses for completing the combat. In this case, it's 1 XP and 2 for 5 gold. 1 XP. And the 5 gold. You best them and place them under arrest. Even though the bandits outnumber you, you dispose of them quickly. You return to the side of the overturned cart and give the Dungrasses back their coin, but they have already gone. Gain 1 gold. So we gain another gold. We can now rest or move to the next location on our path, which we are going to do. We can remove the token as it's no longer needed and move to C. If there is no XP at this location, there is not. If you have any of the keywords lost, bruise, or blood, we do not. The beach is quiet and lovely with its curling surf and sun-warmed sand. The fishers have gone home, but their boat remains, if you would like to set sail for the Longtooth Island. Use an item, rest, or move to another location. Let's use an item, and we will use the shovel. This means that we need to add 1 stamina to our fatigue box. We are now at 5 fatigue. And move to the corresponding number. You dig around the beach for a bit, but you find no treasure but plenty of crabs to eat. You strike a fire and have a quick snack. Each player return 1 stamina from their fatigue box to the supply. And we're back for fatigue. Let's move to A. If you have the keyword Esther, mark it no if there is no XP at this location. You return to Jolev and approach the blacksmith, Rose, as she sets out her wares. As she does, you notice again the insignia of the starlit door on an old ring she wears. Record the keyword market. Shuffle the weapon deck and reveal 2 cards. Place them face up next to the adventure map to create a market. Our 2 weapons are an ancient tome and a longbow. While at location A, you may buy cards from this market for their price. If your king's favor is higher than your dragul, the price for each card at this market is reduced by 1 gold. If you buy a card, add it to the player's hand. This means that we can buy any of the 2 items for 4 gold instead of the usual 5. If your starlit door is 1 or higher, you can ask Rose about the insignia on her ring. It's -1. And also we can use an item, rest, or move to another location. Considering that our class ability allows us to return weapon cards, let's spend the 8 gold to buy those 2 cards. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. And we get the 2 cards into our hand. While we're here, let's use the steel shovel. We use 1 stamina. We add it to the fatigue box, which is now at 5. You attempt to dig in the cobblestone streets of Jolev. Your work draws the attention of a local halfling man who comes out of his house to lecture you on the history of cobblestones in this region. Apparently, these stones come as ballast aboard trading ships from southern Urtep, and each stone has its own story, which he promised to tell you in great detail. You thank him and move along as quickly as you can. We can use another item, rest, or move to another location. I don't think there's anything that we can do here. Let's move to the shadowy cave. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location. We add the XP to the XP location in the party journal. If you have the keyword talk, no, found, no, trail, no, sneak. Sneaking up to the cave and peeking in, you see a young halfling girl lying on the cave floor. She appears weak, suffering from some curse or illness. 1 troll sits near her with another giant troll woman spits pigs to roast on the fire. We can either attempt to speak to the trolls, a strength and charisma check, or draw your weapons and take some heads. Let's attempt to speak with the trolls. You present yourself to the trolls, introducing yourself as King's Guard and offering to parley with them for their lives and the life of the halfling girl. The trolls have no idea what you are saying. If your dragul is 1 of higher, it is not. Next is a skill check of persuasion 2. Let's use 1 strength and 1 charisma to guarantee 1 red and 1 purple die. For the 2 skill check, the dice limit is 6. The remaining 4 I will draw at random. Black, purple, black and green. We roll the dice. can add the 3. We can turn the purple one into a blue or a white. Let's try to re-roll the red dice into a 1, which we can place here. We have played 2 cards. We can use the Flame Imp to add its familiar die and roll it. Which is a 4. I don't think there's much that we can do, but we can still try. We can increase the 4 to a 5 and place it on 1 slot. And let's take the bonus play limit and play the Fiend of Confinement. This allows us to roll 3 extra red dice. And we have a 5. We have filled up all the slots, so we have completed this check. The Fiend of Confinement will be returned to the box. We take 2 XP, and the discarded cards return to our hand. Here are the 2 XP. The trolls invite you to sit by the fire, where they roast pigs seasoned with flakes of purple salt and crushed spices unknown to your palate. The cave fills with an otherworldly aroma that whets your appetite and awakens the halfling girl from her feverish slumber. She confirms that she is Esther Dungrass and introduces the trolls to you as Urka and Songak. They have been kind, Esther says, but she doesn't speak their tongue well enough to explain her situation. When the meal is over, Esther falls back asleep with a smile on her face, but her fever is as hot as ever. The trolls seem very fond of Esther, almost as if she were their own, but they seem to understand when you say that you must take her away to heal her illness. Before you go, the troll offers you a gift. Record keyword Esther. Reveal title card 11. Troll's Ally. Reveal rare card 25. A Green Taker. A weapon which allows us to add 1 dice of any color to the dice pool. We reduce our king's favor by 1 and increase Ultra Ghoul's favor. Move your party marker to location A and read entry A5. We move to A. You found the town healer and leave Esther in their care. Grateful that you have returned the Dungrass girl, the whole town turns out to celebrate. There is wine and song, good cheer and ham, many varieties of the finest hams you've ever had the pleasure to taste. The townfolk celebrate you, and you are begged by all to tell the tale of your heroic victory over the troll that plagued their town. You give them a story their bards can sing for generations, full of daring deeds and more than one untruth. Your celebration lasts into the night. The next morning you awake early and prepare to wrap up your adventure in Joleth. With the town's troll problem addressed and Esther Dungrass returned to their kin, your mission here is complete, leaving you free to explore the area at your leisure. We can now turn to the end if you want, but we will not. Let's move to another location. Let's first look around Joleth. You stroll to Joleth to the town square. The town is much busier today. Everyone has come back out of hiding and returned to their normal work. We can use an item rest or move to another location. Let's move back to the shadowy cave and explore some more. If there is no XP at this location, the cave is empty now, save for the remnants of a large cooking fire. We can use an item rest or move to another location. Let's use the staff sling. You slap the staff sling against the cave wall for a few times. Thwop, thwop, thwop. That was fun. Use another item, rest, or move to another location. Let's use the staff sling with the shovel. We need to put 1 stamina to the fatigue box. You actually manage to throw the shovel with your staff sling. It zooms to the back of the cave and thuds against something soft and hollow. You find an old wooden door, decayed from many long years of exposure to the mists of the sea. Tearing back the door with your shovel, you discover a passage that takes you many miles under the earth, surfacing again inside the closed tower at the center of Jolev. From the top of the tower, you can see all of the surrounding countryside. Looking northward, you spy the gleaming metal of the Colossus, a giant automaton sitting in Gurlung Bay. What a lovely view! It's a long walk back to the beach cave. Gain 3 XP, and each player return 1 stamina from your fatigue to the fatigue box. And gain 3 XP. I don't think there's anything left here, so let's continue moving. The only location left to us is the Longtooth Island. If you have the keyword mock, we do not. If there is no XP at this location, there is. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location and continue reading. The halfling's boat is small but sturdy. You row your way out to a sandy island topped with a bit of grass and a few palm trees. There is a strange stillness here. No gulls hover overhead. No crabs scuttle across the beach. Even the wind seems to still as you step onto the shore. At the island center, a shiny bowl of elvish silver floats in midair. Grab the bowl, which is a fight, rest, or move to another location. I think before the fight, let's do 1 rest. As before, we place a stamina on the rest track. I will spend 1 XP in order to heal. We roll 1 die, and it's a 6, and we return 6 stamina back to the box. We also return the bonus play token, and we fill out the attribute rows. We also take the spent cards back into the hand. We can now attempt to grab the bowl. Reaching for the floating bowl of elvish silver, you find something thick surrounding it, thick enough to stop your hand before it reaches the prize. You try to push forward, but a strange substance surrounding the bowl drips heavily around your arm and begins to squeeze, pulling you inward and sucking away your weapons. Reveal the ooze enemy card. Each player places 1 weapon card from your hand or spend space under the ooze. I will put the spiked shield underneath the ooze card. Our combat limit is still 3. Let's spend 1 dexterity in order to get a black die, and then get the other 2 randomly. Red and a green. And again, into a 2. We have played 2 cards so far. We can use friendly to turn the 2 into a purple, and the ancient tome to decrease it by 1 in order to place it here. With this, we end our turn. We move the round marker. We lose 1 XP and take 5 stamina as fatigue. For the next round, let's spend 1 strength in order to guarantee a red die, and draw the other 2 randomly. We can use the longbow to increase the blue die by 2, and then turn it into red. Now we only need a black 3. Let's use our class ability to return all weapon cards from discard space and spend space to the hand. We have played 2 cards so far. I will play the weapon in order to add a black die and roll it. Let's use the leather greaves to try to re-roll it again. We have played 4 cards, but I still have the bonus play limit to play and trap to turn the 4 into a 3. With this, we have completed the fight. We return all the dice. We take the bonuses, which is 2 XP and 2 gold. So 2 XP and 2 gold. You pull your weapon free of the ooze, ripping it apart in the process. There is nothing left of the creature except the bowl of elvish silver floating in a stinging pool of muck. Reveal discovery card 85, which is a bowl of elvish silver. Another item that we can use. Record the keyword muck. Return any cards under the ooze to the owner's hands. Now we can use an item, rest, or move to another location. Let's use the shovel by adding 1 stamina to the fatigue box. After digging for quite some time here and there in the sand, you've covered the island in holes. Just as you are about to give up, the shovel hits wood. Widening your hole, you uncover a chest and work to bring it out of the sand. When you finally have it open, you find it filled with fish heads. Among the heads, there is an empty flask, a book of bawdy poetry, 1 halfling-sized silk stocking, and some gold coins, all wet and smelling of fish rot. Gain 2 gold coins. We can now use another item, rest, or move to another location. I think the only thing that we can do is go to the ancient chapel and try to use the elvish bowl. We move to the ancient chapel. If you have the keyword discover, we do not, if there is no XP at this location. The ancient chapel is cold and empty. The Durgolium door Gimlix showed you sits in a multicolored patch of sunlight that filters through the fractured stained glass. High above the altar hangs a Durgolium bell. Let's use the staff along with the bowl of elvish silver. This will cost us 1 fatigue. With your staff sling, you fling the bowl of elvish silver into the Durgolium bell above, which rings out a crisp and lovely sound. Immediately, the Durgolium door slides open, the earth quakes, and the air above fills with crackling green energy. You hurry through the door into the underground chamber. On a pedestal there, you find a gauntlet carved from a single piece of jade, and you slip it into one of the chainmail Durgolium sacks that Tarek gave you. The quake ceases, and the air above is quiet. You take a moment to admire the chamber's wall, which are carved with the scene of the arrival, when Azima first brought together many worlds thousands of years ago through the gate at Brizar Wall. The gate is powered by 6 artifacts, and this gauntlet is one of them. Record the keyword discover. Reveal rare card 28, which is a jade gauntlet. We can now rest or move to another location. I don't think there's anything that we can do in this adventure, and we can now move to the end. With your mission resolved, you make preparations for the journey home to Sobek, the capital of Nalos. After a breakfast of ham and eggs, you prepare to make your way south. We will now need to check our titles and see what we have. We have gained 5 titles during this adventure. Smith's Hammer. Before leaving town, you drop in on the blacksmith's shop, but Rose is gone. A new smith's worked the forge. Yes, she left last night, he tells you, took only a small pack with her and headed south, said she wasn't coming back. You reasoned that if Rose headed south, perhaps she has business in the capital. Maybe your paths will cross again in Sobek. Capture of Gimlex. At the outskirts of town, you are passed by a jailer's wagon holding local convicts to Kulbak prison. As the cart passes by, you see the smiling face of a familiar gnome. Duntum's return. At the outskirts of town, you encounter a local hog farmer who greets you warmly. As you spend a few moments in conversation, he mentions that a human pig thief somehow escaped justice and fled the area. He cautions you to take care on the road and bids you good day. Troll's ally. As you head south, you can't help but worry about the safety of the trolls. They will not find themselves welcome anywhere in Nalos. You have befriended enemies of the crown and let them go free. Treason is a legal term for your actions. If anyone ever finds out about your new friendship, you will be sent to Kulbak prison or the gallows. You return to Sobek that night to find Commander Zalek unimpressed by your failure to retrieve a troll's head. Rest well tonight, he tells you. Tomorrow we march back to war. Just as you are drifting off to sleep in the quiet barracks, Commander Zalek storms back in and calls you to attention. Change of plans, he says grimly. There's been an outbreak of vampirism in Undercity. We need to stop the infection before it gets above ground. Vampirism outbreaks were an ugly sight on the battlefield, you remember. The King's Guard turned on one another and spread the infection while the Dragul cut their way through your ranks. You can only imagine what Undercity looks like tonight, with its encampments of outcasts and thieves clawing at each other's necks. But your duty is clear. With no other soldiers present, you must take up your weapon again and follow Zalek to the gates of Undercity. With the adventure ended, we can now go to the market and improve our character. Let's take a look at the shop. We have Chain Fold, a Sling, Tumble, Selfish, and Revive. Tumble is reduced by strength. We have 3 strength, so it will only be 5 for us. And I think it will be a good get. So let's spend 5 gold in order to acquire Tumble. We also have 1 gold remaining. As for the XP, we have 5, 10, 15, 18 XP. In order to increase the dice limit, we will need to pay 8, which I will do so. So 5, 6, 7, 8. To make it a 4. And I think I will do the same again, but this time it will cost 9. And the combat dice limit is now 5. For the remaining XP, I will use it to increase our health from 19 to 20. And with that, the second adventure of Roleplayer Adventure has ended. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Have a nice day and see you in the next one.